Hey knife enthusiasts, how y'all doing today? Wanted to do a little spotlight on some small knives that I like. As you know, I feel like I don't have much use for small knives, but when they do it right, they do it right. Let's get into it. So we got two little knives that are a little bigger and two that are a little smaller. So let's get moving. Bark River, as you know, I'm a huge Bark River fan. Nice thick leather sheath, but again, Bark River, hate these ambidextrous sheaths, and I hate these stupid snaps. It's a shame. They're using quality leather. They used to give you a great leather sheath, but maybe they'll get back to it one of these days. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is the EXT1. What this knife is it's a marriage of the Bravo handle, really the gunny handle because it's a smaller knife, and the Fox River blade. What a gorgeous little knife, huh? Has a bloody base and spacer on there on black micarta, and this one's in crew wear. Now, what I found out about crew wear, see how thin that tip is? I actually broke that tip making a spoon, and I sent it back to Bark River, and of course they reprofiled it, came back gorgeous, but it's got a thin piercing tip. You got to be careful, not good for carving. But what a great little knife this thing is. First of all, that handle, although it's small, look what they did there. This thing is a hand-filling grip. What a beautiful design. What a great knife. Slight drop point there, and this is probably my all-time favorite medium small knife for carving. Like I said, it did the spoon, I just broke it, right? This thing is, wow, too slicey. Great convex. Got to go very, very light here. I can't even get feathers because it just wants to bite. There we go. I got to like push with like the lightest of pressure to get those. But what a fantastic knife. Want to make some notches. Oh, it's carved. Look at that. Oh my God. Look at that, guys. You see that? This is a small knife. That's why I like it. Look at that. Some of the big knives won't do that. What a great profile. All right, do a little notch in there. Look at that. Look at that bite. It just wants to cut the whole thing. Anyway, enough said. Fantastic, fantastic knife. Moving right along. LT Wright. Now, LT Wright and I have a love-hate relationship. There's that beautiful JRE sheath they have. No ferro rod loop on this, but great, easy loop. Do some nice tie downs, also rivets. Anyway, looks like a broom handle, right? Sorry, forgot to do my research before this. I think it's called the next generation. Anyway, a roundish handle. I got this. I'm like, oh, bought the wrong knife. It's too small, and it's got this round handle. It looks like a broom handle, right? What they did is fantastic. This thing fits your hand like a big knife. Now, they made these scallops. I'm wondering, I would have gotten a little thinner on this because for a pinch grip, it's still pretty thick, right? But LT Wright really does a hell of a job on their blades. This one, you see this little X? I don't know if you guys know that. That means 3V, right? They got the little house on there. That's their sign. They make all sorts of knives. They make O1. They make A2. They got all sorts of blade steels out there. Doing a lot of ABL, I think, now. But I took this out. It's a little thin tip on that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to send it back. And then I started using it. This thing is unbelievable. Look at that. Look at that. Unbelievable. Now we're going to get into my little gripe with LT Wright. Now, I don't love all their handle designs. I don't like all the knife designs. I do like a lot of them. Now, this would be great for drilling if it was a little thicker because it's a nice spear point. But they went a little thin. My little gripe about them is every single one of their spines are not 90 degree. They're like 90 degrees sharp. I don't know if you can see that. But, my God, they take a file this thing or they just hit it with the bench grinder real quick or with the sander, and that thing is sharp. So again, fantastic for ferro rods. Actually a little too aggressive because sometimes they eat up your ferro rod, but it's not so comfortable in the hand. Again, give me that flat spot there, start it over there. Let's see how the knife manufacturers start listening. Anyway, that's a fantastic small knife. A little heavy with the micarta handles, but great knife, and a great knife design. The next knife, which I didn't expect to like so much, but I really did, is this one from Benchmade. I think it's called a Thai Canyon Hunter or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, if you'll notice, it's in an aftermarket sheath. Why? Because their sheaths suck. Came with a really bad sheath, plastic, right? And again, these knives are not cheap. This is from Klein Sheaths. I found them online. Great job, guys. Really. Nice sheath company. Check them out. This is the old version. Now, I should have brought the new version out with it. I'm sorry, I forgot. It's in the basement, not getting it now. The new design is much thinner. Now, this is thin enough already. I didn't need this any thinner, right? I like the old design better. This is an S30V. I think some of the new ones you can get S90, which is really nice. Now this is curious. It's full tank. Why they left this out here? Now, does it look nice? Yeah, it looks really nice. But I never used it long enough that it would hurt, and they rounded everything off. But why would you want that metal in your hand? I'm not sure. Now I skinned a groundhog with this, and it's still, I think it's still a razor. Yeah, still a razor. This is a really, really well thought out knife. First of all, I got some kind of rubberized handle on this. Full tang design, as I said, with a little lanyard. The cool thing about this is, I talked about this in another video. You see the double, what they did over here? You see the double jimping? So this is for when you're pushing down like this, right? When you're bearing down on it. But with a knife like this, you might do some skinning or fine work. That gives you something right there. Just a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic design. Benchmade. This is one of the ones you got right. I wish it would go back to the thicker steel. This is already a thin knife, doesn't need to be thinner. And it also does some nice woodwork as a secondary thing. Look at that. This thing will do great on food prep because it's a flat grind. Look at that. Let's see if it does some carving. Yeah, again, not like the Barkey, but really heck of a job. I bet I could do a little notch. And look at that. I got those jimping right in the right spot for that. Yeah, it's a hell of a little knife, really. Benchmade. This is one of the ones you got right. Stop sending out those plastic crappy sheaths. They don't even give you a loop on it or anything like that. Yeah, it's kind of like the gun manufacturers that say optics ready and don't give you any sights. Yeah, we know what you're doing, you cheap bastards. Anyway, great knife. Now the smallest knife with the biggest handle is HELLE. Now, you guys watch my videos, you know I think it's HELLE, not HELLE. This is called the Nying, and when I saw it originally, I'm like, what a weird, ugly looking knife. It's very traditional. It's got the little thing on there to hold it in so it don't fall out. I don't know what this is for. I think it's supposed to be a neck knife, but I don't know. My neck's not that skinny. I don't know if yours is. And great little sheath. Again, very traditional. And what this does, is that a weird looking knife? I know it is, right? First of all, it's in a triple laminated blade, which is some kind of Swedish steel in between probably some 420J or something like that. That cute little neck knife. Look at this handle. Full handle. This is a carving knife. This is a fire knife. This is just a fantastic secondary knife. Now, is it a primary knife? No, but for a secondary knife, and look at the tip on that. Not super thin. You could drill with that. I could drill a little hole in there if I want. I'm not worried about breaking this thing. Look at that. In terms of carving, I think I made a spoon or a spatula with that. Look at that. Look at that thing. Look at that. Call this a fire knife? Look at that. It's a wood hot. This thing's small. Look at the size comparison to this and the other ones. Unbelievable, unbelievable knife. Everybody should get. They were hard to find for a while. I see they're on the internet now. They're around $100. Seems like a lot for a small knife for secondary, but hell of a knife. Pun intended. Unbelievable. Find knives like this? Go in on knifeenthusiast.com. Thanks for watching, guys.